What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Chuds BBQ. My name is Bradley Robinson, and today I'm going to show you how I made these. Beautiful, delicious, cheesy, meaty, scratch-made, amazing homemade breakfast chorizo burritos. Coming up. This is some pork. Ooh. Pat it dry. And what I got here is a bunch of scraps of pork I picked up at my local grocery store. This is just some pork butt and some pork belly. And I'm gonna cut this up to make it nice and small to fit through the grinder. And the mixture of this pork butt, which has some intramuscular fat, and this pork belly, which has a lot, should give us a really nice meat to fat ratio. Probably aiming for around a 70-30 meat to fat ratio, but again, we're making chorizo here, so you can make it as fatty as you really want. A lot of chorizo's got a lot of fat in it, tends to be kind of greasy, and that's kind of the appeal. But any cuts of pork you can find will work just fine, as long as you got a nice fat ratio, that is. And if you can find it already chunked up like this, it's really convenient. Shout out to H-E-B, I'm really glad they started selling it like this, because then I don't have to buy an entire pork butt when I'm only aiming for 5 pounds of meat. And just like that, 5 pounds of pork all cubed up. So I'm gonna pop this into the freezer for about 30 minutes or so to get nice and cold to ensure we get a nice clean grind. As for spices for our chorizo today, I'm very happy to announce the second addition to our sausage making kit lineup, chorizo. This is a really cool one, folks. As you can see, this is a collaboration between Chuds BBQ and Leroy and Lewis, and this is in fact the recipe that Leroy and Lewis uses for their chorizo at the food truck, as well as their chori papas, which is a fantastic side dish. Evan has a whole video about that on his channel, so be sure to go check that out and be sure to subscribe. And what's really cool about this mix is that it's pretty multi-purpose, which is something that we really wanted to do for one of these mixes, because it is in fact designed for a 5-pound batch of chorizo sausage. It's got no pink curing salt in it, so you can use it like traditional chorizo where you don't have to case it, so great for beginners into sausage who don't have a sausage stuffer yet. But also there's no binder in there, meaning this makes for a pretty good rub as well. And I'm very pumped to try it out as a rub. I'm thinking on some pork steak, some chorizo flavored ribs, maybe some pork belly burn ends. The list goes on. Blackening seasoning on some fish or something. Sounds pretty good to me. And it's got all the flavors you'd expect from a chorizo, you know, some chili powder, salt, garlic, cumin, all that good stuff. It smells incredible, and it just makes life so simple. These are in fact on sale on the website right now, so be sure to go pick one up, and this is a limited run. I'm not sure if we're gonna do it again, so be sure to act fast if you wanna try this out. And you're supporting 2 small businesses here in Texas. Do appreciate it. Now that our meat is nice and cold, into the grinder we go. Going through the coarse die today, we're gonna just send it through one time. Beautiful. Now that our pork is nicely ground up, we're gonna go in with our chorizo mix. Again, 1 package is perfect for 5 pounds of meat, which is what we've got here. Ooh, that smells really good. And we're just gonna start mixing this up. Very herby, very chili-y. And I'm also gonna go in with some water. I'm gonna start out with 5%. I just wanna get this to a nice mixable consistency here. And I'm also gonna go in with a splash of some white vinegar. Give it that classic chorizo tang, that little bit of bite. And just get this all nice and mixed up. And just like that, our beautiful chorizo is done. And I went for a pretty coarse texture on this with that big die on the grind. And that's because I'm really after that crumbly texture you get when you fry this without a casing in a pan. But if I was trying to make some traditional Texas style nice and plump links, to this batch I'd probably add 10% water. I'd probably throw about 90 grams of milk powder in there to get that really nice bind, or maybe some breadcrumbs or sea bind or something like that. And I might even throw some cheese in there, but we'll have to do that another time, because right now it's time to move on with these burritos. Starting with our tortillas. Starting by going into our food processor with some bread flour, some kosher salt, and some baking powder. And get that blended up. Next up, going in with some Wagyu beef tallow from South Chicago Packing. Not sponsored or anything like that. It just makes the best flour tortillas. It's just so smooth. And get that worked in as well. And once all that's gotten incorporated and it's looking kind of sandy, we're gonna go in with some warm water. And once a nice dough ball has formed and it's pulling away from the sides clean, our dough is ready. Boop. Give it a few more kneads on the table just to make it into a nice ball shape. And make sure it's not too sticky or anything like that. Nice and supple. And now we're gonna portion this out into some jumbo tortillas for these burritos, weighing it at about 150 grams. Almost nailed it. Beautiful. Then, simply enough, grab a dough ball, put all the seams on the bottom so we get a nice round top, give it the old table roll, and there we go. And just like that, all rolled up, I'm gonna keep them in this tortilla warmer to rest for a good long time. That's really gonna help the gluten relax, make sure they stretch out nice and evenly, while we go ahead and get everything else ready. All right, first things first, we're gonna get our potatoes started. So in this pot of water, I'm gonna go in with some salt and some baking soda. Give that a little mixy poo. And then in we go. Kick on the heat, bring this up to a boil and cook these till they're nice and tender. And while we wait for those potatoes, let's go ahead and bust out our salsa. And by salsa, I mean more of a jalapeno avocado crema situation. Starting by going in with the juice of 2 limes to start. We can always add more if we need it. Followed by some of our diced onion, maybe like 1/4 of an onion, our jalapenos, our avocado, some cilantro, some crema. Ooh, very nice. And for some seasoning, I'm gonna go in with some of the chorizo mix, because that sounds great. Building some more layers of flavor. That's why I like this stuff. Multi-purpose, not just for sausage. And get that all mixed up. I ended up adding a lot more crema. That's why the volume went up. I did throw a splash of water in there too because it was kind of thick. But taste and adjust. I added a big fat pinch of salt, and I gotta say, this is one tasty sauce. And just like that, our potatoes are nice and soft, probing through, looking beautiful. So I'm gonna pull these out, send it through a strainer here, drain off any extra water. And there we go, looking good, nice and soft. And you can see all the little fluffiness around the outside of these. That's what the baking soda in the water does. Kind of releases the pectin and the starch a little bit, which will help them get super crispy. But I'm gonna set these aside until we're ready to fry them off. Now that our tortilla dough is nicely relaxed, let's go ahead and get these pressed out. Got the old Chud press here nice and hot, right around 350 degrees. And we're just gonna go ahead and press these big boys out. Not too much of a taco squeal. Ooh, hey buddy. Ooh, getting some puff. I like to see it. That is a good looking flour tortilla. Little stickage tends to happen. Love it. Next up, we're gonna go ahead and get some of this chorizo browned off. I'm gonna go in with a little bit of oil, although I doubt we'll need it because there's so much fat in this sausage, but just to help things get started. And then throw a big chunk of this in there. Love that sound. And at this point, we're just gonna cook it down like any other sausage, trying to break it up into some nice little pebbles and get it nice and browned. And right off the bat, I'm hit with some of those warming spices that are in there, a little cinnamon or clove, as well as that lovely chili flavor. And it smells so good. And just like that, after a couple minutes, we've got some beautiful, nice browned up chorizo. A lot of fat in there. Definitely gonna drain some of that off, but I took a little spoonful of it to taste it, and it is phenomenal. You know, not too spicy, and yeah, I'm pretty excited. But for now, I'm gonna set this aside to keep warm while we go ahead and get our potatoes fried off. Got the old deep fryer fired up. Just gonna throw these in there. And yeah, I definitely need to change that oil out here pretty soon. And after just a couple of minutes, these are looking absolutely beautiful, nice golden brown on there. Don't take long, I mean, they're already fully cooked, so out they come. Just gonna toss these onto a wire rack, drain off any extra oil, and immediately out of the fryer, we're gonna hit them with some salt. This is a seasoned salt I made. Goes great with potatoes. Beautiful. And finally, last but not least, gotta bust out some quick scrambled eggs. So going in with a knob of butter, followed by some eggs. I think this is like 8 or 9 eggs. And we're just gonna have a nice, gentle, slow cook to bring these up to a nice scrambled consistency. After about a minute or two, we're starting to get some nice curds forming in here. So I'm gonna go in with some more of that chorizo mix. Just drive home the fact that this is indeed a chorizo burrito. And it'll add some cool color to these eggs. And there we go. We're kind of at that soft scramble phase at this point. So I'm gonna go in with the rest of this Mexican crema that I have on hand. Why not? Oops. And get that folded in. And the residual heat in this pan will take these up to a perfect scramble. But you can do your eggs however you like. On second thought, I just looked in the fridge and I had some chives that are not gonna last much longer, so I'm gonna go ahead and throw those in there as well. Just because I've got them, why not? And at long last, it is finally time to assemble this beautiful chorizo breakfast burrito. So to start out, I'm gonna go down with some of our lovely freshly made scrambled eggs. Looking good. Then we'll go down with some of our browned chorizo. And I should mention that I was kind of aiming for this nice crumbly texture, but if you wanted something a little more like you're gonna get at the store, I'd probably do a double grind, or maybe just send it through the small die. That is looking pretty good to me. We're gonna go pretty meat heavy on this burrito. This is a meat channel after all, but I don't wanna make it too big. Looking good. Next up, we'll throw down a couple of these beautiful potatoes. Be careful if you make these though, because they are addicting. I have been just snacking on them for the last few minutes. Perfectly crispy. Next up, we'll hit it with some cheese. This is some Tillamook cheddar. I think I'm reaching maximum burrito capacity. Also some Oaxaca, just for good measure. Gotta have some cheese in your burrito, folks. Then some of our salsa that we made. Oh yeah, love that consistency. Looks so good. Top that with some onion, if that's your style. A little cotija. Can't have too much cheese, folks. And to finish it off, we'll throw on some cilantro. Get a few more vegetables in the party. And there we go. Now it's time to figure out if I made this way too big. I think I might have. I also made it kind of lopsided. All right. Ooh, just barely. Love it. And now to seal it shut, all we gotta do is pop it seam side down back on the old Chud press and get it nice and toasty. After a couple minutes, let's check it out. Oh, beautiful toast. We'll hit that top side as well. And there we have it, a beautifully toasted burrito. Ow, that's hot. And if there's one thing I ever learned about burritos, it is the fact that you have to roll these up and let them steam a little bit in some foil. They come out so much better. Helps melt all that cheese on the inside too, and highly recommend it. Beautiful. All right, moment of truth, folks. Let's see how this thing came out. Ooh, that looks so good. What a neat little package. Go ahead and slice in. Oh yeah, that is a good looking burrito right there. Layers of eggs and meat and cheese, and I'm pretty excited about this one. Gotta say, folks, I've been meaning to make a nice scratch-made cheesy chorizo breakfast burrito for a long time, and this is looking and smelling so good. So let's find out how it tastes. Oh my God. That is phenomenal. The amount of flavor is just out of control. A little bit of spice, a little bit of sweetness in that chorizo, all those warming spices, that chili flavor is coming through. The texture is so good. Those crunchy potatoes, soft eggs, that tortilla is just perfect. I mean, come on, look at this thing. Who wouldn't want a bite of that? The flavors are just perfectly balanced. Nice and warm, nice and cheesy. Nothing's too overpowering. That is a bite of pure happiness. I've got some taste testers on their way, so I probably should wait, but this actually is my breakfast, and that is so good. Perfect meat ratio. Gotta love that. Boys, would you like a chorizo burrito?
The breakfast burrito at 5 p.m.?
Yeah.
Why not?
Oh, the warmth.
I was just saying, you have to wrap them up because it really softens the tortilla. Like when I took them off, they were toasty and kind of hard, but once they're all
it's still crispy on the outside.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Once they're all steamed up. Oh, daddy.
That was really good. Usually chorizo I find too greasy, but
It all soaked into the tortilla and the eggs.
Man, that is the taste of home, for sure.
Wow.
Saturday morning, breakfast, you got the cartoons on.
That cheese is much meltier after a little stint in the oven. Highly recommend.
Wow.
got cilantro in there.
This is just on the solidly in my favorite foods.
The flavor profile of that chorizo is perfect. It's not spicy by any means. It's got that floral kind of warmingness, but nothing is too overpowering. It's incredibly meaty too.
It's rounded and it keeps you coming back.
Yeah. I'm also a burrito over a taco fan. Yeah, I shouldn't say that in Austin, but
No.
I wish there was more burritos here.
So this is the same recipe you use at the food truck, right?
Yeah,
And the upcoming brick and mortar.
that's right. It's the same one. We put it in our all beef sausage and we put it in our chori papas.
That is so good. So easy too. Making a sausage that you don't have to case. Just stir fry it up. Call it a day.
This is pork.
Is chorizo often beef?
So you can get it in the grocery store, like made out of all beef, made out of all pork, or like a mix of both. I think the most classic is probably a pork, but some of my favorites are beef.
We'll have to make a beef one next. I meant to put fresh jalapenos in this.
Ooh,
I sliced them up, but I completely forgot.
I think I just want like a pickled one, just right on top of each bite.
There's gotta be some in here somewhere.
Oh yeah, those are great.
Little pickle crunch. I don't even know when I made these.
Fantastic burrito, fantastic chorizo.
Thank you, sir. What should we chorizo next?
I feel like it's got to go on all the classic barbecue cuts. You've got to do your pork ribs. You got to do the pork steak. I think a chop would be really good, especially like maybe brined in some like tequila.
Oops.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, dude, the sky's the limit on it.
Yeah.
I mean, we do a lot of beef stuff with it at the restaurant, so it's a pre-made like fajita marinade almost. You just mix a little beer, lime juice in there.
Yeah, I need to use it as a rub. This is my first time making actual chorizo with it, and it's phenomenal. So
It's a unique flavor profile that I feel like complements any meat.
Yeah.
I kind of want to put it on fish.
Ooh, yeah.
I don't know why. Like
I think it
like,
look good on salmon.
like a blackening
A
seasoning or
little
something.
camarones, some shrimp.
Oh, yeah.
Coming up. Well, that was certainly a lot of burritos that just got consumed. But with this very last bite, I think it's time for the official taste test. All right, y'all, and that is it. That is how to make some absolutely incredible chorizo breakfast burritos. I highly recommend giving this recipe a try, and I highly recommend picking up some of that chorizo sausage mix. It really made this process so easy, and you don't have to grind your own pork. You know, you can just go pick up some ground pork or ground beef for that matter, and all the flavor is there. Great for making sausage. It's great for a rub. Highly recommend it, and I definitely recommend making these burritos because they were absolutely incredible. But all that being said, if you enjoyed this video, let me know by hitting that subscribe button. Let YouTube know by dropping a like on this video. If you give this recipe a try for yourself, be sure to tag me on Instagram at Chuds BBQ. I'd love to see what y'all are cooking. Big shout out to all the Patreon members. Thank you for supporting Team Chud and allowing me to keep making all these videos. And until the next time I see you, please go cook something outside. Peace.